President Biden is back on the world stage at this year's G7 summit in Italy. He's set to announce sanctions on Russia later today, followed by a rare press conference alongside Ukrainian President Zelensky. But the concerns about Biden's age and mental acuity are back in the spotlight. Did they ever really leave? After a recent awkward moment at a ceremony in Normandy and at a Juneteenth event at the White House. Last night on Jesse Watters, former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy discussed his concerns and recalled a disturbing moment with Biden that he had behind closed doors.
The Wall Street Journal did a story recently, and I told them, I watched this behind the scenes working with this president. I saw the moments he's not there. There was one time we were sitting there, and he's taking us on a tour. Then all of a sudden he goes, "Do you want to go out to the pool?" What? Yes. And then Jill's on the other side of the table with me. She goes, "No, they don't want to go out." He goes, "You don't want to go out?" Then he opens the door, and it's wintertime, and he walks us down to the swimming pool into the changing room. What? Yes. And then we walk back up, and he's created this little room outside the Oval Office to be a little office for him. All it does is have a little desk in there, and then it has one of those valets. And when I walked in, it had a blue dress shirt all wrinkled. Look at, when does the president take his shirt off in there?
He's taking his shirt off in the Oval?
But why didn't they clean it up? I don't know what he's changing. And then we come walking back in, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, please don't show this to any other world leader.
Just show it on national TV, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect way to end that. Don't show this to any other world leader. As the Associated Press headline is, Russian warships reach Cuban waters ahead of military exercises in the Caribbean. This is really concerning. You know, this is the president. He freezes very publicly at White House concerts at a time when Russia's sending a frigate, a nuclear-powered submarine, an oil tanker, and a rescue tug. And the frigate with Russian flag and Cuban flag was greeted with a 21-cannon salute. And do you know what our officials said? They said to CBS, this is notable but not concerning. I'm sorry, I'm concerned when this is President Biden leading our country and Russia is in Cuba, 100 miles from the U.S. mainland, a stone's throw away. I've stood in Key West at that very spot marking 100 miles to Cuba. Well, Russian warships are there, and there's your commander-in-chief, President Biden. On the heels of so many of our security officials sounding the alarm about global threats, global capabilities, and enemies, and now the weakness on the world stage. Do you want to share about your victory lap?
Well, I'm going to take a victory lap because I sat on this couch right where Kaylee is on Monday, and I said he's going to turn around, he's going to go to the G7, he's going to be among these world leaders, and the discussions are going to be heavy discussions about money and about arms. Guess what? In the next hour, we're going to see President Biden and President Zelensky at the podium. That's going to be interesting. $50 billion loan now that the G7 is approved to give to Ukraine, right? Now, they're using the money, it's off the interest of the Russian assets, like $325 billion in Russian assets have been frozen. So fair enough, they're figuring out a way to make the finances work, so I'll take it. But you know who those other European leaders are asking to actually back that loan, to guarantee the loan? Us. They're asking President Biden. They haven't decided yet, but that's what they're doing right now. So what's at stake is what is so disconcerting to me on a constant basis. And by the way, I've been to Cuba. It is all Russian and Chinese money. It is Russian cars. It is Chinese cars. And to your point, 100 miles off the coastline of this country. It's very disconcerting.
Yeah, and starting to be what we look like, too. And, Paul, the other thing is, look, for 50 years, this president has served in government. Everyone knows that he's always been disorganized, though totally inexcusable and clearly sort of furthered by his handlers. But he's always been that kind of guy that had, frankly, passwords taped up and notes and scattered. And he really didn't follow policy to that organized T. But this is a whole different level, and the reality is no American is safe under him at the commander-in-chief watch, and especially not those in service. And the family members have an additional worry and fear, and all of that is unacceptable.
There is no other venue in which an American president becomes so exposed as foreign policy, right? Especially when that person goes overseas. And when he goes overseas, he's representing America. That's Team America arriving on a tarmac. And he can't fake it there the way he can't call a lid at 11 a.m. when he's gone over there for G7 meetings. And, you know, this meeting had the optic a little bit. You know, in the World Cup, after they played the gold medal game, the team won, and then everybody plays for the silver and bronze, and nobody kind of cares. This is a European meeting of people on a continent, most of them are leftists, that just lurch to the right. right?
Yes.
They're all lame ducks,
Yes.
essentially, because they
Yes.
just had their legs cut out.
Italy.
And except for Maloney, they all just went to the right. In other words, they just cut the legs out of his agenda, and he helped. So to me, this is a little bit of a confab of losers.
They can enjoy those cigars and then exit.
I think that, Biden is here at the G7 conference, and yet he has become the single biggest liability to the G7 security and to our own national security. And what you were saying about service members earlier is important. My brother serves in the Navy, and I'll just say many of his fellow service members are considering not re-signing because they do not want to serve under a president that they do not believe is mentally fit to command them. This is a big concern in the military, and it's widespread across all voters. I think of a new CBS poll out this week that found that just 1/3 of voters in the U.S. believe that Biden has the mental capacity to serve another 4 years in office. Among my generation specifically, that concern is exacerbated. A New York Times poll found that 85% of Gen Zers do not think that Biden is mentally fit to serve. And if voters here at home, who are probably going to be much more charitable to their president, feel that way, imagine what our enemies on the world stage think about us.
Such great points, guys. More Outnumbered next. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.